Alright, as a kid, I remember waiting for the school week to be over, just patiently waiting, like, come on, please Saturday. You know why for Saturday? It's Saturday morning cartoons. 23 years old now, still waiting for school to be over, still patiently waiting for my cartoons. I've changed, my humor's changed, and as a result, so have the cartoons I've watched. Today, I want to describe for you the evolution cartoons have made from children's entertainment to adult-driven humor. Now, I've done extensive research, and I've watched countless hours of cartoons over my years. Countless hours. I know many of you grew up loving cartoons just like I did, and according to the ratings for some of the shows now, like Panda Guy, South Park, you all still watch cartoons. My first point, I just want to describe how animation has changed visually. It's no longer about a man, a pen, and paper. It's still about that. There's still basics of that. More it's computer generated. And for example, I want to show you this little pic right here. My two favorite cartoons, Tom and Jerry and Panda Guy. Right, now notice the detail here. Family Guy, they're casting shadows. You have picture frames on the wall. You got the neighbors. You got everything. A lot of detail. Tom and Jerry, you have Tom, Jerry, and I guess those are supposed to be letters. Well, that's what happens over time. Another thing that's also changed is the episode output. As a result of these computers, you're able to make a lot more episodes for a shorter period of time. Seth MacFarlane, creator of Family Guy, was quoted as saying you can make about 5 episodes in 10 months. It's much more efficient than years past when, like I said, it was just a guy, a pen, and paper. Now, Seth MacFarlane still knows the basics. He has the computer technology at his disposal, but he doesn't rely too heavily on it. In an interview he did with Josh Dean, he says he's been able to draw the Family Guy characters since he was 10 years old. So this just goes to show, even though you got all this stuff, all this technology we have now, don't forget the basics, don't forget where you came from. Now, you've seen how the image has changed. Let's see how violence has evolved in cartoons over time period. Well, first of all, I'm going to say violence has always been a part of cartoons, but today it's a lot more graphic than Tom and Jerry and Roadrunner. My first clip, I'm going to show Tom and Jerry. Some of you might remember this, some of you might not. Now we got Jerry right there. You can all see. Sound's not working too much.
Sounds on the demo.
Oh, okay. Okay. It's Tom and Jerry. There's no words anyway, just music. Now I'm going to fast forward a little bit through here. Basically, what you have is Tom trying to court a female cat. He's giving her a present, dancing for her, playing guitar, he's courting her. And eventually, she's going to be hit. You're going to see pretty soon here. Or the face. Who doesn't like that? Alright. Now, that wasn't too bad, wasn't too offensive. Mainly because you didn't see any physical harm, no blood, you didn't hear anything going on. Just a cat getting hit with a board. Not too bad. Now, Family Guy, it's a little bit different. A lot of you are probably going to remember this clip. I'm going to fast forward through a little bit of it.
Neither am I. Let go of the check. I mean, he wants to stay out of it. Stop. You don't talk to my wife like that. Oh, yeah? What are you going to do about it?
Not exactly Tom and Jerry. But, as you can see there was blood, you can hear bones being broken, hot water being tossed into space. Not exactly meant for kids, right? And parents need to realize this. Just because it's a cartoon doesn't mean your children can watch it. They need to learn to regulate in their home, because they're the #1 authority. And instead of a bunch of uproar about how violent Family Guy is, let's talk about how your kids shouldn't be watching it and keep them on lock, I guess you could say. Now, after seeing all the violence compared here, we can look at look at the plot and how they've affected our pop culture today. Some people think Family Guy was the father of cartoon controversy, but controversy regarding cartoons has been around since cartoons themselves have been around. For example, in this clip here from Tom and Jerry, you see Tom, who one of their famous sticks, Tom gets blown up with dynamite. What he has here is blackface. Now, back then, that didn't seem too violent, it's not too offensive. But according to Chris Duvalis, he states in an article that the times have changed since then. And now, this seems a little bit suspicious of subtle racism. So you can tell Tom, he has a blackface and his lips are enlarged. So controversy was around even back then. On to Family Guy, one of the most controversial shows or cartoons in history, perhaps. In this episode, Chris Griffin is on a date with a girl with Down syndrome. He asks the girl what her mother does. She says she's the former governor of Alaska. Sarah Palin, former governor of Alaska, has a son with Down syndrome. And she spoke out about this to Bill O'Reilly. She stated, "When is enough enough? The world is full of cruel, cold-hearted people who would do such a thing." Now this didn't stop Seth MacFarlane. Tom and Jerry, yeah, they've changed their episodes around and they ended out some of the controversial stuff, some of the subtle racism. Seth MacFarlane believes in free speech to the death, and he's going to keep pushing the envelope, and he's going to keep doing that because people are going to keep watching, and he's going to keep getting ratings. Now today, I examined several aspects of how animated cartoons have changed from my childhood to present day. As all of you now know, the cartoons we loved as kids, there's a dying breed, and a new, more edgier cartoon is taking over.
All right, Steve, what did you think?
I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed listening to it.
Well, you could talk about the organization, you could mention the visual aids, you could talk about the supporting material, how was the introduction, the conclusion, what were the transitions like, how was his delivery. I mean, we spent, 2 weeks talking about stuff, Any of the things we talked about in the last 2 weeks would be perfectly appropriate for you to comment on here.
I enjoyed the introduction because I too enjoy cartoons. I didn't really follow along the whole thing because I like your introduction. I liked your clips. That was also one of my favorite Family Guy clips.
Good one.
And Tom and Jerry, so I could see how everybody did and stuff. So your comparisons were pretty good. So I guess I like the transition.
Well, it's okay. Don't worry too much about it. I like this personal story that you had to start off the subject. You've got a good transition to your topic and what the central purpose is going to be. I do think that you need a little bit more of a preview telling us what the main points are going to be. As you got to each of the points, I could usually tell, okay, we've got, the detail in the animation and how complicated it is to prepare it. We've got the violence that we're doing the comparison on, and then we've got the controversy that's going on. So during the body of the speech, I picked those things up, but I didn't really think that that was laid out at the beginning.
Yeah, over.
At the summary, you did okay coming back to that kind of thing, and that helps it a little bit. So that structures it a little bit more effectively for the audience. Your thesis statement, like I said, was really solid. Supporting material, on the first point, you had some quotes that you used from the guy who does Family Guy. I think you could have used a little bit more information talking about the violence in the other cartoons. You've got the examples that you show, which are, I think, integrated into the speech pretty well. So even though you had a little bit of complication with the sound or getting the images to be in the right spot, I thought you did a pretty good job on those kinds of things. So I don't have any big problems with the visuals and the way they're integrated in the speech, and they usually showed the thing that you were talking about. I think you could give us a little bit more context information about the times, talk about, for example, the controversy. Tell us you give us 2 examples of controversy, but you don't tell us about how it was discussed in the society at the time, whether or not there were any consequences. You do mention at one point that they've edited the Tom and Jerry cartoons. I wouldn't be at all surprised that some of them are not even available in their original forms because of the racist element in them, or I don't know about the violence, that any of that would be a problem. Because we're all fine with violence, apparently. That's the world we live in. I thought the delivery was really effective. You did a nice job talking to the audience for the most part. You look at your notes only when you're reminding yourself what the next thing is that you're going to talk about. You know the subject pretty well, so you're not having to read to get from point to the next. So you did a good job on those things. All right, thank you.